Okay, those that come earlier get a prize. The prize is you're going to get a little bit more than the other couples that are not here. And so one of them is just few points I will add up if you want to put them in your notes. One of them is called proximity control. So if there is misbehavior, let's say that you have guests and your kids are with other kids in your home, and so there is some misbehavior. And so all you need to do is you just need to come close enough. You don't look at the child, because we never look at the child when there's this misbehavior. All you do is you just get close enough for them to know that something was happening, that mama had to come close enough, right? We don't say anything, we just get close enough for them to understand that there should be no phones when we eat, right? The other one is touch control. So there is some misbehavior, he's talking when I'm talking, and I don't like that, and so the only thing I'm going to do is I'm just gonna put my hand right here. I'm not gonna say anything, I just put my hand. And they know if there was any misbehavior because of attention, he got my attention. I didn't look at him, I'm right here, I know you're there, I know you might have a need, and I'm just close enough for you to know that I'm right there. So sometimes that's all you need. That's all you need. We never talk negative about our kids in front of anyone. You will, if the child is there, you have no idea what my child did yesterday. I don't care if the child is 1 year old or 2 year old or 3 year old. They know you're talking about him. Never, ever, ever talk bad about your kids in front of them. And you need to choose few people that you can talk about, that you need to vent and say, my child did this. And it's not just to vent. If you're telling somebody something that your child did wrong, you're trying to seek, do you have any advice? How can I improve this? If you're just talking bad about your kid, that's called gossip. And you should not be doing it. If you need to vent with your spouse, or find one other couple that is older than you, that have kids older than you, that have gone probably through this, and you say, I just need to vent, because I don't know what to do, or I don't know why this is happening to me. Or let's say your kid got sick, and you just, a month, the child is sick, vomiting, diarrhea, and you just need to tell somebody, like, I can't believe this. You're not doing it in front of the child. You're not doing it with every person that you see. You just find one person that you can say this to. You know how some parents says, I'm gonna count into 3. 1, 1.5, 2, 2.5, 2 3/4, 2 1/8, something. No. If you want to start and you say, I'm gonna count 1 to 10, and then you do this, then you start counting less. I'm gonna count from 1 till 7, and then I'm gonna count from 1 till 5 next time. And next time, we're just gonna count 1 to 3. And if a child can obey when you count 1 to 3, the child is able to obey when you count 1 to 2. The child is able to obey when you say 1. The child should be able to obey when you say, I need you to do this now. No counting. It is not a good thing to teach your child that you're going to count until 3. You are doing this now, or there will be consequences if you do not do it right now. There are other times, remember, we're flexible. It's, I need you to do this, but if you need 5 more minutes, I'll give you 5 more minutes. Okay? So don't count for your kids. You're just teaching them that they can get away with the 1 3/4 and 1 and no. You're going to try to be reasonable with your teenagers. Those who have kids, most likely you will have a teenager. And when your teenager wants to dye their hair blue, like our daughter wanted to dye their hair blue, because other kids were dyeing their hair blue. I want to influence my child. I'm not gonna break the spirit. We're going to compromise. So, Mom, I want to dye my hair blue. Of course, yes, right? We're trying to say yes. But you're only in 4th grade. So let's go back to this conversation when you are in 7th grade. Oh, she can go back and guess what? My mom said, I'm gonna dye my hair blue. She never tells that until 6th grade. She just, really? Your mom said yes? Yep. She said yes. And that's all she says because she just wants to be able to win status that she will have her hair blue. Time passes, 6th grade comes, I'm not gonna remind her. Of course, I forgot about it. So if in 7th grade she wants her hair blue, it's like, okay, you have homework. You need to find out, how long will it last if you use, which products you use, and what do they sell in Ukraine, and how much do they cost, and how much are you paying from your money? Because I'm not gonna pay for your hair blue. We'll go half and half, So you give her homework so that she takes time. So it's not a yes, no, right now. So you stretch it as much as you can, but there will be a time when she has to dye the hair blue. And I'm thinking long term, right? I'm not gonna be paying for my daughter to dye her hair blue every time she wants her hair blue. So how do I solve a long-term problem? We learn together how to dye the hair blue. So I get a friend who is a beautician. I said, can you help me? Can you teach us how to dye the hair blue? And of course, I'm gonna influence, right? So I told my daughter, you don't want to just do the whole hair blue and look just like everyone else. You want to be elegant. You want to be special. Why don't you just do a little bit of highlights that are blue so that it really doesn't look blue, but then if you look twice, people have to look twice. Oh, she has blue highlights. Have you ever seen anybody with blue highlights? No. You'll be the only one in Ukraine with blue highlights. You see how we met halfway through, but I kind of won more of this battle? And so then I buy the material, we do the whole thing, we take notes, we dye the hair blue. And so she learned. So a year later, when she wants to dye her hair green, I'm not paying anything. She's doing it by herself and only help her here where she cannot reach it. And when the brother wants to dye her hair blue or green or yellow, whatever it is, so our middle son, wouldn't you be surprised? Our middle son wanted to dye his hair orange. And we are looking bright orange, like orange. I don't have any orange. Anybody has a bright orange? And so more bright than the top orange that is there. I mean, really. Because there was a camp, and in the camp, they put them in teams. And yes, that's a good orange right there. Yes. And so he wanted to be with the spirit. We show spirit. He's a team leader. And so not only was he going to dress everything orange, he was going to dye his hair orange just for that 1 week. Well, he was like 4 days on a camp, like a Thursday through Sunday. And so he came to the sister and said, can you dye my hair? And brought the friend, can you dye this? So I had a green and a blue and an orange. We had every color. And so Anna recruited other friends so that they all together were dyeing the hair of all the students. And Sunday night, they're all dyeing it back to the normal color. But Mark decided to be cool. I'm not going to dye it back. I'm going to keep it. So he kept it. And everybody was looking at him. And then it's like there was something else going on, some kind of trip, and we didn't have time to dye it back. So he had to go on this trip to... so there was this... this is an amazing story, and if we have time, you ask us for this amazing story of how Mark learned that God is alive and hears his prayers. Because until age, I don't know how old, 12, 13, he was convinced that God was some kind of mythological creature that never heard his prayers. Until this one example that will tell you if you remind us about this amazing thing. But we didn't have time to dye the hair back into his normal color. And he went to Gennady took him to some place in Europe, and he had to go with the orange hair, and he was so embarrassed. He's like, I'll never dye my hair. Never, any color whatsoever. All right, so long-term thing, I taught my daughter how to dye her hair. And I told her that highlights of a different color is more elegant and unique than just all of it blue or half of it blue like ombre. No. Do ombre with highlights. That looks really nice. All right, we had 2 questions. What about spanking? So, What do you think about punishing kids with a belt? Oh, I'm glad you asked a belt and not like, a hammer or an iron. My neighbors were burned with the iron when they misbehave. They'll turn the iron on and they just burn them. And they had like the tip of the iron in their arms. And for you, it's like, ah. So I want to make sure no burning kids with cigarettes, with iron. I mean, you have no idea the abuse that my friends went through. Okay, so spanking. We have 2 schools, no spanking and spanking. If you're in the school of no spanking, stay there. Do these other behavior modification techniques that I talked to you. If you are in the school of the spanking, okay, I'm not going to convince you not to spank. And the ones who are convinced to not spank, I'm not going to convince you to spank. But if you are in the school that says you should spank your children, then you need wisdom. How and when and where do you spank? So first of all, you don't spank a child younger than 1 year old. Your child has no cognitive development to understand the cause and consequence. If you spank a child that is younger than 1 year old, the only thing that they know is that sometimes you just spank whenever you want, because they have no correlation, right? So you just ground chin, you just spank. And so never before 1. There are some children, like our older son, and he was 9 months old, and he was smart, and he knew he was misbehaving, and he was ready for spanking, and I was like counting the days until he turned 1 so I could spank that child. So, but I waited for 1, because if you spank or shake a child, like shake him because you're mad, you can break the neck of the child. You can literally kill the child. You can spank and do it the wrong way and really damage or harm your child. So you don't touch a child that is younger than 1, unless he's Slavic, but you still wait. All right, so you're gonna talk to your child. You're gonna say, if you do this, you're gonna get this, yeah, cause and consequence. And you are in this stage, you're the police. You put the consequence to the behavior. A 2-year-old will not tell you what's the consequence to whatever it is he's doing, cursing or whatever. Soap, wash the mouth with soap for sure. And so what you do is, as the child gets older, you're going to say to your child, like we said to our 3 kids, especially Mark, we said, we are going to help you behave good. We're gonna help you and teach you how to control your behavior. And our goal together is that when you're 7 years old, you will never get spanked again. Does that sound good to you? Versus the rest of your life, right? So like I got spanked or hit until I was 15 every single day of my life. Because I always did something, answered wrong, didn't do enough, fast enough, well enough, like whatever. And so our goal is that 7 years old, you will not get spanked. Deal? Deal. Okay, let's sign it up. Right. Until age 7, you will, Mark Podgajski will never get spanked again. Sign, I sign. And if the child is 7.5, and the child named Mark decides to behave like a 5-year-old, I will bring that contract back to him and say, do you remember this? I am so sorry that you chose to behave like a 5-year-old, so I'm going to have to spank you like a 5-year-old. So when you decide to behave like a 7-year-old, I will never spank you again. This is together. I'm helping you. So that's your goal, right? Because remember, you're going to become a coach. You want them to have critical thinking. You want them to understand that there are consequences to behavior, and spanking is not always the consequence. Right? So that's what you do. With the spanking, you will only want to spank where there is enough cushion not to harm the child, which means it's not wherever it goes. The Lord gave some of us more gluteus maximum, I got gluteus minimum, but there is some cushion there. So this is where you spank. You do not tell the child to take all their clothes out. You not spank in bare skin, ever, ever. And our kids knew that, and one time, I don't know what they did, and they were in a row coming to get spanked, one at a time, not in front of everyone, to save face. And our middle son, who will not be named, was coming like this, with these huge things. And he had put toilet paper, rolls of toilet paper, so that he was ready to get spanked. He was in this. They knew where the spanking went. We have, I had one spanking spoon, wooden spanking spoon. It was the only spoon to be spanked. We never used it to do salads or anything. It would always stayed on top of the fridge. And they knew that if I reached closer to top of the fridge, the behavior completely changed. Oh, I don't have to reach that high. If I got close enough to the refrigerator and start going like, where is it? Because I knew that was the spanking spoon, no other one. One of the things that it does is it helps you cool down. Because if you grab the first thing when you're mad, I promise you that you will over-spank that child. So it helps you to cool down, trying to find that spoon that is all the way in the back of the refrigerator. You have to get a chair to go up there and climb and find it. You need to cool down before you spank. Do not spank in anger. Do not spank if the child does not know why he's getting spanked. If you think that the child knows, but if he cannot voice it to you, I have no idea what I did, then he should not get spanked until he knows why he's getting spanked. That's very important, because he will understand that, oh, if I do this, I'll get spanked. But if he doesn't know why he got spanked, then he just has no idea when he's going to get spanked, right? It's whenever mama is in a bad mood, I'll get spanked, or daddy is in a bad mood. And we were asked, what if the child asks why, and why this, and why that, and what are the rules? And should you say, it's because I say so? In the police time, the child doesn't understand all your rules. Like, you hold my hand because a car can run over you. You say it, but it really doesn't make sense. So it's because mama said so, but you're trying to always give an explanation of why you do this. There are times when you say, instead of because mama says so, you're going to take advantage and say, because in our family, in the Podgajski family, we do things this way. You want to teach it as soon as possible. Because when you come to teenage years, you're going to, because the Podgajskis, we do things different. We're like a Soben. We're special people. And so one of the things, it's called pizza. Not pizzas, but pizza. P-I-Z-Z-A-Z. This is a psychologist that came up with this idea. And I didn't know this until I got educated and then later learned that my dad used this with me, with our family, and I had no idea. So one of them is, it's like you use honor. Remember, I said we're a team, the Podgajski family. Of course, I said the Montalvo, that's my first last name. The Montalvo and Podgajski family, we do things like that. So whenever our child will do something extraordinary, you will use this. It's called a pizza. And so, I like going to school because my friends were there and I could talk to them. Not because I had to learn something or do homework. Which means that sometimes this month I got A in math, and then the next month I got C, the next month F, and the following month A. So there was no understanding, no logic to my grades. If I wanted to do the homework, I did it. If I didn't want to do it, I didn't do it. So my grades were all over the place. But if I did not flunk any grade, that takes a miracle, right, when I was a kid, for me. So my dad will do this. There's a meeting, family meeting. Everybody in the living room, family meeting. And he'll knock, in the closet, nobody's there, but he's making a big deal. Family meeting in the bedroom of my brother. Family meeting right now with my mom in the kitchen. There's a family meeting, right? Family, important family meeting. Family meeting! So he did this big deal. My brothers, 2 older brothers, my older sister, and then my younger brother, and then my mom. And my dad will go outside and get some leaves and make one of those Roman crowns with laurel leaves, and he'll organize a medal. I did a medal just for this. And he will say, okay, I'm going to get the reward, okay? You're not supposed to do this in the Slavic culture, but I'm Mexican, so I can do this, right? So he will make me go up in a chair And my brothers were there, and my sister and my mom and my little brother. And my dad will say, today, there is honor. Because our daughter, Guillermina Deneb de Montalvo Ríos, has filled our family with honor and glory. Mi papá decía, una vez más, las armas de la familia de Montalvo se han llenado de gloria y honor. Esas fue Ernesto. And so he will say these things. And so she did not flunk a single subject in school. Applause, 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 applause. And so he made me bow down and put the crown. And then he'll give me a special medal. He will get foil, literally foil, 2 beans, put it in a little cord, and said, you deserve a medal. And he'll put this medal. Later you can come and see what my medal says. I have 2 medals that I have ever received from my father. Because I never was good enough. I was never pretty. I was not good in school. I was disobedient. I got spanked every single day until I was 15. I had a sister that was perfect. She was beautiful, and she got straight A's every single day of her life. She was the most boring student in life. And so, but I have those 2 medals that my dad made. They're not worth 1 cent. But when Satan came and told me that I was not good enough, that I wasn't pretty enough, that I didn't do enough things, I could get my medals and put them in my heart, and I knew sometimes, seldom, but sometimes, I can get a medal. And that made me believe in myself. It was nothing. You don't do it often. It's only sometimes. But if it's effort for that one child, not to flunk a class, not to curse, not to whatever, then you want to give him a pizza. That child will save his pizza for the rest of his life. And that child will learn to have hope in himself or herself. And so use it, seldom, but use it on a child that has low self-esteem. It's very, very important. All right, I already took half of the time for Gena, but that was very important.